After the Gabriel Jesus injury blow to Arsenal, close to 3 months out, though the board of Arsenal has not yet given us the real time that Gabriel Jesus is going to spend out of the injury or out of action. But there is some good news that Arsenal fans can recon to and at least have some smile on their faces of a replacement for Joao Felix, a replacement for Gabriel Jesus, who is Joao Felix at 100 million euros being put on his head by Atletico Madrid. Then Bukayo Saka has been identified as the threat by French national team as they go ahead to play their quarterfinal game, and that is happening tomorrow or on Saturday. Then lastly, we are going to talk about the hijack of Arsenal's target that they wanted to sign in the summer. That is Danilo from Palmeiras. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash the like button, guys, comment and share. And if at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to go in the lower right bottom corner, smash the black button that has the word subscribe, hit the notification bell. That will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. And obviously Rokani David is the man behind the mic, and his face is behind. His face is the one in front of the camera to bring you this story. Second video of the day. I believe that we are going to have one more left, then we go to sleep, and then we are going to have a busy day tomorrow as Argentina plays Netherlands and Brazil plays Croatia in the World Cup quarter finals. Now, this story first dropped coming in from from Matteo Mercato and Relevo that Joao Felix wants to leave Atletico Madrid and there is no turning back. Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are among the clubs that have asked about Joao Felix, while Atletico has already set a starting price at 140 million euros. The player wants to join the best project. So this first statement is not new to all of you, of Joao Felix wanting to leave Atletico Madrid and there is no turning back. But the main beat as why I wanted to start off this story with this line is Arsenal and Mikel Arteta are among the clubs that have asked about Joao Felix, with Atletico Madrid has already set a starting point of 140 million euros. The player wants to join the best project. Now, when you look at Arsenal and Mikel Arteta, they've asked about this player. Trust me, Arsenal are lacking a third striker, and it has gone ahead to reveal itself when Gabriel Jesus got an injury. Everybody thought that Arsenal would go on to be needing the likes of Tielemans, Danilo, maybe a Modric, but the reality has bite in at a very crucial time that can help Arsenal to act as a blessing in disguise to go on and think otherwise of whether they are in a position to continue with their transfer plan as it was when Gabriel Jesus had not yet gotten an injury. When Gabriel Jesus had not gotten an injury, Arsenal never thought of signing in a centre forward. They thought Jesus and Nketiah would take them through the season, something that has really failed after Jesus got an injury during the Cameroon game in the World Cup, and now he underwent a surgery. Now he is going to be out for a minimum of 2 or 3 months, and it can even go worse to 4 or 5 months, and that might be his end of the season. He might return and play close to 10 games of the last 10 games of Arsenal's season. So Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal were among the clubs that have asked about the viability of Joao Felix, because the agents always are really looking for new places or new positions or new jobs for their clients. Joao Felix has not had a very good spell at Atletico Madrid, and obviously he came in through at a very hefty price. 130 million euros, I believe that's what Atletico Madrid paid for him when he was crossing from Benfica to Atletico Madrid. But because the manager there is a pragmatic manager, he wants his players to be playing a low block and obviously do what we call the counter-attacking game. He has brought problems to a side of to a side of Joao Felix, and he wants to move. Now, Arsenal are really making inquiries on this player, and this player is also willing to join a project if at all it's the best. And I believe the best project for Joao Felix should be that of Arsenal. That's it, if not Arsenal, that of Manchester United, because that's where his impact is going to be felt, and these two managers can really get him into a way of getting his lost career back onto the track, because Joao Felix is a very good player. He can play in all the four attacking positions of the midfield. He can play as a central attack midfielder, left forward, right forward, and a centre forward. And now, when Arsenal is not having Gabriel Jesus, you expect this player to come in through and lead the line, because he can lead the line very well. Skill set is good. I think the only doubt about him is his physicality, whether it can come in and fit in the Premier League, but physicality is an attribute that anyone can work on. Now, after Marketo telling us that, we are having Ninza Kinsella. He's a Chelsea, Fulham and England correspondent for The Standard. He has come out and told us that Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United have been put on red alert over Joao Felix. Standard Sport understands that Atletico Madrid have placed an £86 million or €100 million price tag on the player. Now, the price tag keeps shifting goalposts, but to me, I believe no team is going to offer them the amount of money they want. You see, what really puts a player down, especially the price, is when he comes out publicly or tells his agent that he wants to go out of that club. That means, however much is tied on a logo contract at Atletico Madrid, his heart won't be at the club. What Atletico Madrid have to accept is that they've already made a loss. They've already made a loss for Joao Felix, and they should get out like £60 million or 70. They should sell off this player. And obviously, they should not call out for a lot of money, because I don't believe there is a team willing to spend £100 million on a player like Joao Felix, who has been on his decline ever since he joined Atletico Madrid, though he has come out and put out cameos for the club. Now, Niza Kinsella continue to let us know that most suitors for Joao Felix likely prefer an initial loan move with option to buy, but could be charged a sizable loan fee. Premier League leaders Arsenal could look at former Porto youth star as a potential replacement for Gabriel Jesus. So, Arsenal are one of the teams that could look in for Joao Felix to replace Gabriel Jesus. You know, winning a Premier League trophy is something hard. If you followed the season and how it really went in through towards the end last season, it was really a marathon that was so tight between Liverpool and Man City. What made Liverpool put up the race was the number of forwards they had that were scoring in goals. Salah, Mane, Diaz, Firmino, Diego Jota. They had very many to go on and really help them to score those goals. Now, Arsenal to compete with Man City and not to really put a step back or slide back, they need a reputable centre forward to come in through and do the needful and score those goals. Even if Gabriel Jesus is there, I believe he needs a rest. And that's one as to why he got that knee injury, because it's rumored he got that injury or he started to feel pain in his right knee while at Arsenal. So this injury just went ahead to get worse at the World Cup. And obviously, when it got worse, nothing better you can do, unfortunately, on the field of play, because it needs something delicate. Players that have really gone ahead to insist not to undergo surgery have faced it rough, and they found themselves almost leaving their career. Jesus out. If Arsenal goes ahead to get him on a loan and play for Arsenal, and then they have an option to buy, that will be better. I believe that if at all I'm Atletico Madrid, if I want to get back my money that I bought him, it's better to go out and loan him to like a club like Arsenal that really needs him. Then you tell them that let him perform very well, because Arteta is going to field him in the games that Arsenal are going to play. And even when Jesus returns, Arteta can figure out a system that can fit these two on the same field of play. If Joao Felix comes in at Arsenal and fires in like 15 goals and like 5 assists a season, those are 20 goal involvements, then all the A teams, all the LA teams in the top European football can go ahead and really put their eye onto him, and then they can come in and say, all right, we have some good money. Can we have a talk? A dialogue can be commenced because of his going to Arsenal on loan and scoring in goals. You've seen it at Cody Gakpo. Right now, the price of Cody Gakpo is staggering, north of 75 mil. Do you know why? He's at the World Cup and performing very well, but has only scored 3 goals. Now, imagine Joao Felix coming in at Arsenal on a loan, and then he scores in like 15 goals. Then he goes ahead to have like 5 assists. 20 goal involvements will help Atletico Madrid do the needful and get this player. But the bad thing is that I don't believe that Joao Felix and his agent, Mendes, are really willing to listen to loan offers. They want a permanent deal that is going to see off these players. That's going to see off his agent leave Atletico Madrid. That's it. So that is where everything is landing stagnant as far as Gabriel Jesus' replacement is concerned, and that is Joao Felix to a team which goes by names of Arsenal. So we might see that Arsenal is going to go on and break the bank to bring in a player in the names of Joao Felix. And Diaros is telling us that Atletico Madrid will not let Joao Felix leave for less than 100 million euros. Arsenal, PSG, Chelsea, United are in the mix. Mendes trying hard to find a new suitor. Loan with mandatory partners also possible. Difficult to predict. Obviously, it's difficult to predict because you don't know the stand of Atletico Madrid and the stand of Joao Felix, especially as far as the movement is concerned. The only sure statement we can make on Joao Felix is that he wants to leave Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid doesn't want him to go, but because they feel like the player wants to go and he's not getting enough playing time, then they should get that amount of money. But on the decision of the mode of departure at Atletico Madrid, that's really unpredictable and no one knows what is going to come up. But I believe the best is going to be sorted for this guy. And I believe if I'm Atletico Madrid, I can tell a team like Arsenal, right now, get me 60 million pounds. Those are like 70 million euros. Then, if he performs better, you add in clauses that will see his value raise up to 120 million euros. That if I only qualify for the Champions League, you're going to pay me 5 million pounds. If you win the Premier League, you pay me 5 million pounds. If you do ABCD, you pay me 1 million pound. If he scores 20 goals a season, you pay me 3 million pounds. And that's how teams like Everton were able to amaze or raise a lot of money from the deal of Wayne Rooney from the Merseyside to Manchester. Even Ronaldo's deal accumulated up to 20 million pounds, yet United did put in an initial fee of 12 million pounds. And because Ronaldo did everything that was in the clause, they got back their money. The other player that really helped a club get close to 65 million pounds, yet the initial deposit was like 40 million pounds, was Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. When he was coming in from Sporting Lisbon, United coughed like 45 million pounds. Now, after Bruno Fernandes coming in and scoring very many goals, assists, and helping United to qualify for the Champions League, in those months that he played for United from January up to July, remember the season was prolonged because of the epidemic, he managed to raise some more 10 million pounds for a team where he came in from, that is Sporting Lisbon. So I believe if at all I'm George Mendes, who negotiated a deal of Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United like that and it paid off, why not apply the same negotiations for your client? Because Joao Felix's agent is George Mendes, and George Mendes negotiated the deal of Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon to Manchester United. I believe Jorge Mendes has all the expertise that is required to negotiate the best deal of the player. Because right now in January, you can't get a team that is going to cough out 100 million euros. And even if he stays, it's going to be hard for him because he averages less goals a season. 8-10. A player who scores 8-10 goals a season cannot be bought at 100 million euros. And they have no direct plan or proper plan that is going to make him explode in the next remaining 6 months of the season to see to it that when it comes to the summer, they can really get a lot of money out of him. So the best thing to do is to sell him at like 60 million pounds. Then you put in clauses that can help you get the more 40 if at all you want to sell him at 100 million pounds. I believe that's what they're supposed to do, and the agent is really great. But Arsenal is one of those teams that are really chasing in for the signature of a player who goes by the names of Joao Felix, and I believe if they're serious, they can get him. They can put a deal on the table that can really help them do the needful and get this player to come on and do the needful. And when you bring in Joao Felix at Arsenal, it's not a plaster on the wound signing or a stopgap signing. It's really a very huge signing that can help your team get to winning levels that they've never been before. This guy is really talented. I believe if at all Mikel Arteta puts his hands on him, this guy can turn into a striker that he was way back in the Premier La Liga league of a team which goes by the names of, I think he came in from Benfica. He came in from FC Porto. I think he came in from Benfica. He came in from Benfica. I'm 100% sure because I saw him put on a red jersey at Benfica. He was at the age of 18. Very, very exciting. Man City was looking at him. Manchester United was looking at him. And now it's Atletico Madrid that won the race. Obviously, the player failed to work out. And that goes out to blame the scouting system of the Atletico Madrid team. Now, let's leave that at that because we've talked a lot about Joao Felix to Arsenal, the replacement of Jesus, identified by Mikel Arteta. Now, let's talk about a player that Arsenal wanted to sign and had raised the money that was being called for by Palmeiras in the summer to sign him. That is Danilo. 25 million pounds were raised by Arsenal, and that's exactly what Palmeiras wanted from the player. But guess what happened? They said they can only sell this player in January, and Arsenal really were so much in panic because two of their central defensive midfielders were injured and they wanted one. After losing out on Danilo, they went in for Douglas Luiz, and Aston Villa said no to Douglas Luiz, and Douglas Luiz has just penned to paper on a 4-year contract at Aston Villa. That means it's hard to get him. Now, Danilo is one of those deals that has always been discussed of to join a team which goes by names of Arsenal from Palmeiras in January, but obviously there are very many other teams. Ajax and Monaco, as I came out before and I told you that these teams are really serious on this player. Danilo has been into a very good season in Brazil. Now, the journalist that first told us a story of Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal in the summer, Brazilian, has come out and really told us something about Danilo. It's not going to be music to Arsenal fan ears because it might not work out like a charm as you wanted. He's known as George Nicola. Obviously, he has a YouTube channel, and he says, so as per George Nicola, first to report Jesus to Arsenal deal in the summer, he has come out and told us that Monaco told Palmeiras that they will bid 22 million euros for Danilo. Palmeiras want 25 million euros. Player also knows he will get other offers and that Arsenal will make one. Now, the bidding war is going to start, though for Palmeiras, they've set the ceiling price or the price ceiling for the player, and that is 25 million euros. Arsenal had met it in the summer, but they were not willing to sell the player because they wanted to go ahead and win the Champions League of South America, of which I believe they won because they know that Danilo was integral to their team. Now, Monaco is in, 22 million euros, bid coming in, 3 million euros less. And what is Arsenal up to? That's the big question. Are Arsenal going to go in and sign Danilo? Because if this player leaves Brazil and goes to Monaco, You know how Monaco sells its players expensively. They are bringing him in as a replacement for Tchouaméni. They sold Tchouaméni to Real Madrid at 85 million euros, meaning that they are going to get off 25 million euros and sign in Danilo, meaning that they're going to be having a profit of 60 million euros left. I'm 100% sure if Danilo goes to Monaco, he's going to hit the ground running and they'll sell him at another 80 million euros in the next 1 or 2 seasons after impressing. He's young, he's like 21 years of age. That is Danilo of Palmeiras, and very many teams are interested in him. And I believe if you are Edu and you're having a very perfect plan to go on and really recruit this player, this is the best way to go all out and sign him. That's it, because if you don't sign him now, he's really going to be very, very, very expensive to buy. He's at the age of 21. He's at the age of 21 years only, and I believe he's really going to be one of those players to reckon with in the future. So Arsenal is expected to make its bid, and Danilo knows that. Obviously, if Arsenal puts the same amount of money that Palmeiras is going to put there, that Monaco is going to put there on the table, obviously the player will choose Arsenal over Monaco. Why? Very many Brazilian players are now thriving well at Arsenal, and the sporting director, Edu, is doing a very wonderful job at a club of Arsenal, and he knows Brazilian teams like a book, because before he came to Arsenal, he was a sporting director or technical director at the Corinthians team in Brazil. That's where Arsenal really got him and brought him at the club to start doing the job of a football director. And now they've promoted him as a sporting director to oversee all the sporting activities of the male and female teams. So let's wait and see whether Arsenal is going to go in and make a bid for this player, because a hijack is expected anytime from now from Ajax and Monaco, and Monaco has the money with it. Arsenal is really having a very huge problem. The transfer plan has been altered because of the injury of Gabriel Jesus. So I believe Arsenal are really having a plan to go on and really get in Jesus. Now we know that on Saturday there is going to be a very huge game of France versus England quarterfinal. Whoever wins will face the winner between Portugal and a team known as Morocco, of which they will have a very huge chance. Now, asked one of the defenders that has been playing for France, that is Dayot Upamecano, on which England striker to look out for. He said Bukayo Saka, he likes to cut inside. We will have to make as few errors as possible. We are really ready. He has told it to RMC Sport, that is in France. Obviously, they can't wait to stop this lad in the names of Bukayo Saka. But I believe they are really wrong. However much I love Bukayo Saka, and he's having a very wonderful World Cup, but if you want to stop Bukayo Saka, you have to stop the midfield of England. And the main guest in that midfield of England is Jude Bellingham. If Jude Bellingham comes in through and gets stopped, then you'll stop the likes of Jude Bellingham. Harry Kane, the way he plays, favors the wide forwards of England to go on and thrive. Harry Kane digs deep to go on and get that ball and then releases the likes of Sterling, Rashford, Bukayo Saka. But he's right. But I believe Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham should be stopped to play if they're to get something out of this game. So guys, thank you very much for watching in. Rokani David is my name. Tell me what you think about Jesus' replacement identified by Mikel Arteta. Obviously, Danilo Hijack by Monaco. And lastly, do you think Bukayo Saka will be put out of action by France on Saturday? I'm waiting for your comments to throw in the comment section below. Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. May the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly. I'm out. Good night. For those that are really hurrying to go to bed, one more story left to come.